Excellencies Ambassador, Ms. Constance Marcel Deru, the head of Industry Department of Ministry of Economy, Finance, Industry and Digital Sovereignty, Mr. Ayman El Toloni of Monetary Fund of the Montreal Protocol, Dr. Yosel Alouche, the Director General of the Institute of International Refrigeration, distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen. Before everything else, in this very special moment, allow me to say Happy World Refrigeration Day of 2025 for all of us, for all stakeholders involved in the refrigeration and cold chain system industry across the globe, especially the International Institute of Refrigeration. It is indeed an honor and privilege for me to stand before you today to share insight on a subject that is not only vital, but also increasingly urgent in our time, the critical role of refrigeration and heat pump solution to advancing human well-being, animal welfare, and climate sustainability. The title of my keynote speech today is the development of sustainable, resilient, and equitable cold chain system for better food security, healthcare, and in the global climate change era. Distinguished speaker, ladies and gentlemen, we live in truly an era of defined by profound disruptions. Global climate change has already begun to alter the rhythm of our agriculture and fisheries, disrupt the global supply chain system, and strain healthcare system. Rising global temperature, sea level rise, ocean acidification, extreme weather event, and shifting precipitation pattern are threatening crop yields, livestock productivity, and an aquatic ecosystem. At the same time, global population growth, industrialization are increasing and accelerating demand for safe and nutritious food, as well as effective healthcare services. The paradox is obvious. While technology and innovation are advancing, especially in developed countries, disparities in the access to food, vaccines, medicine, refrigeration infrastructure remain deeply entrenched both within the country and between developed and developing countries. Distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen, food production and supply already represent approximately a third of global greenhouse gas emission, uses enormous amount of land, energy, and water, and is responsible for widespread environmental degradation globally, from deforestation and habitat destruction to air, soil, water, and marine pollution. So, ensuring the cold chains of the future are sustainable by delivering a preventive, from today business as usual technologies and models to the sustainable one is an imperative. But not only this, cold chains are critical infrastructure to the functioning of modern society in the same way that water, electricity, and internet networks are. And as much they must be resilient to shock and extremes, particularly in a warming world, where ambient temperatures are increasing and heat waves are becoming more frequent, severe, and prolonged. Furthermore, ensuring equitable access to cold chains to empower the billion small farmers and fishermen, particularly in low and middle income countries, who are essential to the current and future of global food system, is very, very critical. Distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen, a cold chain system, the temperature control supply chain for perishable goods, is a silent but indispensable backbone of modern human civilization. From farm to table and from laboratory to the patient, cold chains preserve the integrity, safety, and quality of commodities and products. In the food chain system, cold chains reduce spoilage, improve shelf-life, and enable year-round access to safe and nutritious food commodities and products, including fish, seafood, meat, dairy products, fruits, and vegetables. As an essential and integral part of a cold chain system, refrigeration in food processes play a key role in ensuring an adequate temperature, which not only guarantees the quality of the product, but also prevent the proliferation of microorganisms that can compromise the health of the consumer and its preservation in optimal condition for consumption. Food commodities and products rely heavily on the refrigeration system to preserve them in optimal condition during storage and distribution. In addition, temperature control is very important to comply with the strict food safety regulation in force. A failure in this refrigeration system can have serious consequences, both in terms of safety and economic losses for consumers, manufacturers, and distributors. The term cold chain system in food sector is synonymous with the continuous process of producing, packaging, storing, and distributing temperature-sensitive primer products that are perishable, as well as secondary process products in chilled or frozen states. Ladies and gentlemen, lack of effective refrigeration and cold chain currently result in annual food losses estimated to be around 526 million tons, which is 12% of the global food production, with a market value of about 380 billion US dollar. This is enough food to feed approximately 1 billion people in a world where as many as 830 million people suffer from hunger. In addition, it is estimated that 600 million people worldwide fall ill, in 420,000 lost their life from contaminated food, in part due to a lack of refrigeration. Furthermore, about 1 billion people today still live in extreme poverty, with about 80% residing in rural communities where they are primarily dependent on agricultural production derived from farm based on small land holding. These farmers do not have the financial capacity to own and operate colding technologies or access to adequate cold chain that connect them to market, resulting in missed income opportunities due to the loss of food and distress sales. Integrated cold chain could increase the income of poor farmer about 4 to 5 times. In healthcare system, cold chain ensure vaccine, insulin, medicine, and life-saving health products reach patients in potent form, especially in rural, remote areas. Lack of adequate cold storage and refrigerated transport vehicle to support medical supply chain in low and middle-income countries currently contribute to over 1.5 million vaccine preventable deaths each year. In climate mitigation, efficient cold chain reduce greenhouse gas emission and various waste disposal by minimizing food loss and enabling smarter energy use. Distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen, let us then explore what a sustainable, resilient, equitable cold system means in the context of global climate change. Number one, sustainability must begin with energy, simply because cold chain systems are energy intensive. Number two, climate resilient cold chain system requires robust infrastructure that can operate under extreme conditions such as heat waves, floods, and blackout. Equity demands that cold chain reach the last mile. Small farmers like in Indonesia, fishermen, coastal communities, indigenous population, and low-income urban dwellers. Ladies and gentlemen, to realize the vision of sustainable, resilient, and equitable cold chain system, may I use this special moment to offer 4 strategic directions. Number one, policy and regulation. Government must provide enabling framework, including incentive for green refrigeration, mandates for vaccine cold chain system, and subsidies for rural infrastructure. Number two, investment in innovation, mobilizing financing for clean cold technologies, including energy efficient, natural refrigerant, and so forth. Number three, capacity building. Number four is very important, global collaboration. Distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen, the cold chain system may be invisible to many, but it touches of all us in the food we eat, in the fashion we receive, and in medicine that save our life. Therefore, strengthening and enhancing cold chain system is not merely a technical endeavor, it is a moral imperative in the face of global climate change, inequality, disruption, and fragility. Let us commit today as scientists, engineers, policymakers, private sector leaders, and civil society to build a cold chain system that is sustainable for our planet Earth, resilient in the face of crisis, and equitable for all citizens across the globe. I thank you very much for your keen attention. Good morning. Thank you, especially to the International Institute of Refrigeration.
Thank you, Professor Dahouri. Thank you very much.